so thrilled to have all of you with me because a couple of big things, and you get to hear it first. Everybody, I think, knows, just you feel it in the air, you're seeing it, you see these diamond coaching pages. There's some really, really exciting things that are going to be coming out. Many of you know that I got to be, my very first diamond meeting was probably the biggest diamond meeting of corporate history. And so, what a joy and a blessing that I got to be there. But I want you to know a couple of things. If you've ever been like, I got to be all in, I got to show up every day, I've got to really know what's going on, I got to not get behind, the next couple of months will be your biggest months of doing that. So please hear me whenever I say trust us and do the work and really kind of grind in. Once again, I had conversations with my husband this weekend, so have conversation with your shareholders to say, hey, I might be having to do some evenings. It might look a little bit different for our family dynamics. Make sure that you share those things so that you and your team, that you can serve your team well and that you can take care of your personal business in the way that it needs to be. There's always some of those months that you just have to dig in, that you got to find that grit. And I'm going to tell you, this month and next month are big ones. Now, you saw my graphic. I cannot, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I can't go back and babysit things. And so I need for you to look at Passionate Pursuit every single day. Some days there will be stuff and some days there won't. But I can't follow up to see if you missed it, nor can I follow up to see if you added your name to something after the date, because there's too much going on. I wish I could, but I've just had more stuff put on my plate and nothing got moved off. And so you know how that goes, right? And I want you to be successful. So the greatest thing that I can tell you is show up. Go look at the pages, get your information. Don't get overwhelmed. I'm not asking you to look at a million pages. I'm asking you to look at Passionate Pursuit and maybe your main team page. One thing that I've evaluated, I always ask you guys to always evaluate things. One thing that I've evaluated is that almost all of our people are on everyone's team page. And then I get to hear from you and you say, I'm so overwhelmed. And I'm like, why are you in somebody else's lane? Why are you not just on your team page? Why are you not just on your business page? Why are you on everyone else's trying to see what they're doing and stirring up over there in their pot? That's their pot, not your pot. So there might be some things this month that you need to say, what do I need to move off to keep my priority, to keep my focus, to keep myself from not having that overwhelming feeling? Let me remove those non-essentials. Let me focus on what my lane looks like. We talked about that last week. Stay in your garden. Don't worry about the weeds or the flowers or the fertilizer of somebody else's. Just do yours. So those are my great tips for you this morning. I want to make sure that you've seen our calendar, our May calendar. Michelle Harrell always puts those together so beautifully. They're on her page, my Passionate Pursuit page. I really want to bring to your attention one thing that we're doing that we've done in the past. In fact, almost a year ago we did it, now that I'm talking about all this. But we have information Zooms every Thursday night this month. We might move into that for June as well, but without a doubt, we're doing it in May. So that is for your success. That is not because we think it's great. The leaders that are going to be leading that are leading it out of sacrifice of a servant's heart for all of us to be successful. So make sure that you engage in those, make sure that you bring people into that, make sure that your new ambassadors know about that. Our whole motto is always like, no one left behind. Everyone's products are paid for. You should be sharing that with all of your ambassadors and letting them know how. We put a graphic out there yesterday for you to be able to see what they can make. And so you want them at these and bringing their friends. So enough about the calendar, because we got to get moving. Diamond coaching pages, you are on those. If you ask to be on those, you have to opt into that. We have our IPA threads. People are asking, and yes, they're two different things. One is diamond coaching. So you will get a diamond page with posting and different things. It's different diamonds under Rosalind Payne's organization. And those are all by points. And then you have our threads that are also by points. And those are really kind of a micro type of a community of just our people, of making sure that we're accountable every single day, showing up, positive mindset, all that great stuff. So want you to know about all of those things. Okay. So we know that big things are coming, and we have talked about you showing up every single day. Greatest thing that I can tell you is success sprints. Success sprints. So you need to be focusing on recruiting, on retaining, and on developing. Recruiting your own personal ambassadors, retaining your own customers and ambassadors, and developing your leaders and your new ambassadors in your organization, helping your leaders with their new people, developing them, of getting 3 friends, getting products paid for, moving from silver to senior silver to gold. That is our focus. Anytime you go, I don't know what I need to do, I'm going to say, what are you doing about recruiting? Are you posting? Are you messaging? Are you engaging in conversation? What are you doing about retaining, which is something we're going to talk about today? Are you doing your customer care? Are you onboarding them well? When I say onboarding, if you've never heard that question, you're like, I'm not doing it because I don't even know what you're talking about. It means that you're in relationship with them. You're checking on them. You're making sure they're taking their products well. You're troubleshooting. If they're like, I don't feel very good, you encourage them to say, that's most probably detox. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you can feel a little bit better. Everyone goes through that process. You work with them on adjusting. That's what onboarding is, okay? And then you continue that relationship, that you might help them try a new product, especially a customer that might be just doing 1 product or 2 products. Your customer care of retaining is always providing value to let them know that there's other products. So that is that. And then I would say, hey, you checking on your team? How are your level 1s? What are their goals? Are you helping them develop so that they can grow? Those are your priorities every single day. When you're like, man, I got 15 minutes. Okay. Are you posting? Have you messaged a couple of people? Have you followed up with people? That's why our Power 30s are so critical, is that we get to come together, because a lot of times, if you will make a date in your calendar, oftentimes if it's something like IPAs, guess what? It goes on the back burner because all of a sudden you got to put a fire out. It goes on the back burner because all of a sudden you think that your laundry is more important. Amen. Goes on the back burner because all of a sudden you think today, right at this moment, it's the perfect time to go run an errand. And let me just tell you why your brain does that. Your brain wants you to stay safe. And anytime we do our IPAs, all of a sudden we think, oh my goodness, I'm getting anxiety. Oh my goodness, I feel like people might judge me. Oh my goodness, I'm going to like lose my self-esteem if somebody ghosts me. So your brain says, hey, we're not even going to worry about that. Let's go do the laundry. Let's go wash some dishes. But when we come together in a Power 30 and we consistently do it, if you can do 930s, just like right now, do them with us, all of a sudden you're there, and we're going to keep you accountable to that. And that's why it's critical. Sometimes it's way easier to be accountable in a community than to say, I'm going to do it on my own. And then it's 10 o'clock at night and you still haven't done it because you felt like that everything else was a priority other than your future and your business. And so we're trying to set you up for that. So this month in May, we're going to be talking about gratitude. We're going to talk about appreciation. We're really going to appreciate our people, our customers, our ambassadors. I feel like I say this all the time, but I feel like I have to say this all the time. I call my people clients. You don't have to know that part. That's not the piece I'm talking about. My clients are my wholesale ambassadors and my customers. They go into one bucket for me because they're just taking the product. So this month we are showing appreciation to our, you probably call them customers. Don't just focus on your true retail or preferred customers. You've got to put your wholesale ambassadors into that bucket. You have to. And this month, if you don't do that, you're going to miss out on a whole lot of things that we're talking about. So this month, we are going to show gratitude and appreciation to them. I did a live, I think on Thursday or Friday, shared with you that we're going to be sending out thank yous to everyone, let you know that if you need help, which do not be embarrassed if you financially need help for thank you cards to send out or stamps, please reach out to me or your closest Jewel. Either way, we're here to help you with that because it's that important. Like I said, we shared with you that we have a future that's incredibly bright. It's just like as if we were ground level opportunity all over again. So whenever I share with you the importance of appreciating and showing gratitude to your customers and your ambassadors, I want you to say, ooh, that must be a clue. I think I need to show appreciation. Okay. Amen. Y'all with me? Okay, let's talk gratitude. Gratitude, if you look it up in the dictionary, it is the quality or the feeling of being grateful or thankful. It is to appreciate kindness or to appreciate the benefits received. Now, whenever we talk about our organization, we talk about our customers, what benefit are we receiving from them? We're receiving a paycheck. The larger your paycheck is a rating on how well you're serving your people, the impact you're making, the way that you're growing as a leader, the way that your people retain and stay with you. And a lot of that is because of your gratitude towards them, your appreciation towards them. For some of you, you might not be able to retain, or you recruit and they start to fall off. A big question would be around the idea of, did I appreciate what I had? A lot of times I talk about being a great steward of your organization, being a great steward of what you've been given. That is that gratitude piece. And being able, they're benefiting you and you're benefiting them. But a lot of times you kind of blow them off. Like I've even heard people say, oh, well, they just take one product. I don't really talk to them. They just take that product. That long term will really dent the work that you're doing in your business if you're doing your business to impact. And so those are things that I want you to think about, because this is the deal. Gratitude has to be expressed. People will never know that you're grateful unless you speak it, unless you show it. It has to have action for someone else to know. Have you ever thought about that? You can have a grateful heart and it can come out of you, but it is coming out of you because you are in action. You are doing something that shows that gratitude. And people can say, man, she has such a grateful, humble heart, or she's always so thankful, because you're bringing things to mind and you're sharing why you're thankful for that. It has to have action with it. It's important to continually acknowledge to others, your team, your business leaders, your wholesale ambassadors, your customers. You have to acknowledge them and appreciate them for you to know success, for you to find success. I want you to think through that as we work through this morning. This is what John Maxwell says. John Maxwell says that we appreciate, that what we appreciate appreciates. Think about that. What we appreciate appreciates, and what we depreciate depreciates. Whenever I think about that, and I think about so many that I've been able to coach and love on and try to develop and try to encourage, a lot of times we don't do, or you don't do your part of being the leader of your organization because of this fear that you have of someone quitting, not taking the products anymore, returning the products, being negative, ghosting you. You're so self-focused that you're not appreciating even the transaction and the decision that they made to even start. So what you appreciate, which that would be customer care, appreciates. What you depreciate, man, I can't call them, I'm too afraid to. Man, I haven't sent those messages because I'm just not organized. That is such a thought. But the more that you depreciate, you will see it in your organization, in your success, because it will depreciate. Does that make sense? You with me on that? So I want you to think about your business, your growth or your lack of it. And could it possibly be because of appreciation or lack of it? What can you begin to do starting today to change that? That's the beauty of anything that we learn. Anything we learn is not to beat us up, but it's to bring an awareness, and we have the power and the decision and the choice to change it for our future. So, what can you start doing differently? Or maybe you do. Maybe you're like, Melissa, I send thank yous every single month. I send out messages every single month. I make phone calls. I want you to think about what could you do just to up that level a little bit. I want you to think about that. What could you do to bring more value to those people, to show them in more ways just your appreciation for them? Maybe listening to their story, asking their story, maybe learning a little bit more about them, maybe learning some things that you didn't know already that could literally move them into an opportunity. What if you did something that you actually received some words back from them that could end up you helping them do something differently in their future, right? So, also, I want you to know that gratitude changes the atmosphere. It takes you from being down to being up. It takes you from being frumpy and having a frown to having a smile. It takes you from feeling fully defeated to having confidence. It's all through gratitude. It's incredibly powerful. We've talked for so many months, right, about taking gratitude walks, about having a gratitude journal, about just thinking of those three greatest things that you're grateful for, about going to bed at night and not falling asleep until you have a moment of gratitude. That's how critical it is. If you think of any high performance leader, if you think of any man or woman that is highly successful, CEOs of companies, I love listening to interviews of CEOs, of high performers, of women that have grown and been successful and made these huge organizations. I don't know one of them that one of their top areas is gratitude. And they find ways to be grateful. They take moments to be grateful. That's how critical this is. So I want you to know those things. Now we're going to move to you thinking about your business. One of the graphics that you saw that started on May 1st was in regards to points. We are going to focus on actually putting our points. I put mine in my phone every single day. I have them for the last 5 years. If it ever goes away, I might literally die. It should maybe be somewhere else. But many of you that are growing businesses still don't look at your points. And it gets really critical, and it's a behavior pattern. One thing that I want us to understand this month, next month, July, we're really working on behavior patterns. The behavior that you've had over the last several months, you will see that qualified, if you will, in your future. Have you ever thought about the behavior pattern I have qualifies me or disqualifies me for something in my future? I know whenever I was in corporate America, one of the things that I did was I was over executive teams and top managers, and we looked at gap analysis of the areas that they were great in and the areas that they were bad in. And we looked at that gap and we tried to figure out, and it was all around behavior. Everything that we did from an interviewing standpoint of interviewing our people, especially our management and our executives and our teams, was on your behavior. The questions that were asked were about behavior, because the way that you acted in your past was going to be the way that you acted today and into your future. So if you didn't make good decisions and we saw a behavior through the questions that your behavior was not a solid, strong behavior of consistency, then we knew when you came to us, we were either going to have to do a whole bunch of work to develop you to change your behavior pattern, or you weren't going to work for you. It wasn't going to work. In 6 months, we'd be like, man, we've got the wrong person on the bus. That's what I think about whenever I think about this. Your consistency, the way that you behave in your business, in your IPAs, doing time blocking, making sure that you're looking at your calendar and saying, when am I going to work on my business? When am I going to work on myself? When am I going to do my content and really think about my post and how to add value? That behavior pattern will be your behavior pattern in the future until you say, I'm going to change these habits. I got some bad habits that I got to get out, and I've got to bring some good habits in, and I'm going to consistently work on them. So in saying that, it's very critical. So one of the things that we want you to understand that's going to be really cool for you, if you will do it, is to start looking at your points every single day and recording them, because I want you to look at your points in June and see the difference between May and June. I want you to look at your points in July and see the difference between May, June, and July. And you're going to see that growth. You're also going to be able to evaluate that. Okay. So I want you to look at last month's points. Where were you? You should know exactly where you ended last month. It might have been with one ambassador, 5 people. It might be that you ended up with right below the rank that you were looking for. I want you to look at what that is. Okay. I want you to be grateful for it. Take a moment of gratitude for exactly where you ended. Doesn't matter if they were low, if it was really high, if it's not what your goal was, you have to take a moment to be grateful. And then I want you to think about the people who made up those points. Oftentimes, because we're so point focused, because points make the decision of paychecks, we forget that there's people behind the numbers. So I want you to think about the people that made up those points. I want you to be grateful for them. Just take a moment. Your customers, your ambassadors, your business leaders that you partner with. Oh my goodness. The gratitude that I have for all of our business partners. Okay. I want you to think about your goal that you have set. Today is Monday the 3rd. You've had 3 days to set your goal. If you haven't, that's okay. Crazy weekend, I get it. And that's one thing, just saying that I want you to think about in May. May is end of year, graduations, people getting ready to go on early vacations, lots of movement happening in May. For this to be one of our most critical months means that you have to be very, very intentional with your business. If you wait until June, if you wait until mid-May, I promise you will so regret. So please don't do that. So think about your goals for May. We always talk about growing 10%, always. So what were your points? What's a 10% increase of those points? What was your recruiting for yourself personally, for your team? What would be a 10% increase in that? I'm going to ask you to look at 10 to 15% in May and in June. 10 to 15. You will not regret what I'm asking you to do, okay? Be grateful. Take a moment right now to be grateful for who is going to be part of those increases. Be grateful for the people that you're going to meet, the people that you're going to end up partnering with, because that posture of gratitude, that servant's heart, that desire to inspire others is literally going to be the energy that gets you through your month. Every day, I want you to be grateful for those people that are going to bring an increase for you, okay? So put it in your calendar. I'm very much of a visual. If it's not on a sticky or not written in my calendar, I promise I will forget. Or set an alarm. I set alarms with words that are important to me. So maybe you set an alarm for gratitude, and maybe it says business, people, impact. And that reminds you a couple of times every day to have a grateful heart. Okay. And then lastly, I want you to take a moment right now, and I want you to think through, what do you need to do the exact same way in May that you did in April? What worked for you? What worked? I want you to think about what you need to do differently this month than you did last month. What totally didn't work? Well, I didn't show up for half the month. I'm pretty sure that didn't work. So this month I'm going to do it differently, right? Or, at the last minute, I got into a hustle mode and I kind of freaked out and I sent out 20 just cold call messages, and it made me feel weird and I got ghosted and now I feel judged. I'd say that didn't work. That didn't work for me. I think I'm going to do it different. I think I'm going to engage this month in a different way. You need to evaluate so that you can extract from that, so that you can do different things, right? That behavior that we're talking about. Okay. And then what do you need to learn this month? What do you need to learn to build your skill set? What are you like? I'm just not good at that. What would that be from a standpoint of growing a business? Now, and whenever I talk about learning, a lot of us just want to be students and listen to a million podcasts or a million trainings, but we never even put it into action. I'll let you know, in on a little secret, if that is you, you won't grow. If you're going to watch training, listen to podcast, put what you learn into action. If you need to learn a skill, if you are saying, I'm just not a great leader, then you need to start putting yourself out there and build your confidence. But it has to be active. And then, like I shared with you, I want you to look at your calendar and say, this week, when am I going to time block? Because my business is a priority. And so, when am I going to do it? So, on Wednesday and Friday of this week and next, we're going to come together at 9:30 Wednesdays and Fridays, and we're going to write our thank yous. We're going to send appreciation. Snail mail is so wonderful because nobody gets it anymore. And we're going to thank all of our customers, all of our wholesale ambassadors. Okay. So be prepared for that. I can't wait for us to kind of have a little thank you party together. And as we close out, I'm going to ask you one last thing. I love for you to think through and evaluate and prompt yourself, because questions make our brain move into action. Who will you encourage today and speak life into? Who needs to hear from you today? How are you going to contribute your energy and your time and your focus today? Where are you going to place it? And lastly, who are you going to meet today that's going to partner with you in your vision for this business? You guys, thank you so much for being with me. It's going to be a wonderful month. Are y'all super excited? All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow at 9:30.